Hello everyone, welcome to Jennifer's Sewing and Creativity. If it's your first time joining my channel, welcome. If you're a previous subscriber or you're coming from a previous video on my channel, welcome back. So if you are coming from a previous video or you're a previous subscriber, you'll see that we are filming from a different angle today. And I'm doing that because I want to show you how I lay out my table when I start cutting fabric for a quilt or for a project. And I like to lay out my table in different ways depending on what the project's going to be. And most of the time it will be in this kind of configuration. I'll have my cutting mat, or I will have the cutting mat and the wool pressing mat off to one side. But today I have it kind of like spread out, and that way I can kind of show it to you all at one time. I have two different types of cutting mats, or two different sizes. This one is made by Fiskars, and it is a 17-inch by a 24-inch, or actually, excuse me, an 18-inch by 24-inch. And I really like the size of this one because it's really good to keep on my tabletop. And most of my work is done on a 3-foot by 5-foot repurposed dining table. And in my office sewing room, all of my projects are done on this table, whether I'm sewing, quilting, working on my computer, whatever it is. Everything is done on this table. So I have to kind of have everything where it will work on this table. So today I will be using this size of my cutting mat. I like to have my wool pressing mat off to the side, and I keep on my table a silicone mat, and this is I believe it's I think it's 17-inch by a 24-inch also silicone baking mat, and I just got it in a clear, and I got this on Amazon, and I wanted it for when I was doing my silicone dot painting, or excuse me, my acrylic dot painting, just to keep my table clean. And I had been using some poster board behind my canvases to keep it clean. But I was spending a lot of money on keeping it clean, because when it would get messy, I was just throwing those away. So I wanted something that I could use over and over again, where I could just wipe it down. So I got this silicone pressing mat. And then I decided, well, I'm going to be able to use that to protect my table also when I'm doing my quilting, because when I have my wool pressing mat on the table, it's going to protect my table from the moisture and the heat, also from when I'm using the pressing mat with my small iron. So I can have this right on the table and work right on the table, and I'm not going to harm the table. So that's one way to kind of combine your working space. So I have that off to my side. So I'm right-handed, and I typically will have my machine here to the right side. I have it moved up above, out of the way for today, so we can show everything. If I'm using my larger pressing or my larger cutting mat, I will use this smaller baking mat. And I just got this at Walmart in the baking and cake decorating aisle, and it's made by Wilton. I think you can see that right there. And this was under 10 bucks. And sometimes if my sewing machine's walking around a lot on the table, I'll put this underneath the sewing machine so it doesn't move around. But it's also really good also to put underneath the pressing mat too, the wool pressing mat. Or if I'm just ironing something, I can put the iron on it to protect it also. So there's this type of silicone mat also. I also like to get all my rulers, my quilting rulers together that I will be using for the project. And most of the time, I will be using my, what size is this? My 6" by 24" quilting ruler. And before I purchased this, I really didn't think I needed a ruler this size. And boy, was I wrong. And what I ended up doing is I've got some, it's a, let me stand up and grab it. This is Invisigrip, and it's just a, kind of like it's just a grippy surface that you can cut and you can put on the back of your rulers. And I don't use the full sheet of it. I just use like small little, I don't know if you can see that on there. There's like just a small, maybe a 2" by 1" section that I put on the rulers. And that's just enough in little sections to grip the fabric so it doesn't move around. So that's a good way if you're using larger rulers to not have your fabric or your ruler move around on you. There are many different rulers, quilting rulers. These are just the ones that I found work for me. Make sure that whatever project you're going to be doing, get the ruler that's going to make your project easier for you. Rulers can be expensive. I purchased this ruler. This is a hexagon ruler. I got this one at Joann's. It is a, this is a 5.5" hexagon ruler, and it can do different sizes. I've had it for probably 2 years and never used it. I had the urge to do a hexagon quilt, and it just hangs on a nail on the wall now. So I'll eventually do a hexagon quilt, but it just kind of sits there now. Same with this one. I purchased this, I believe, at either Joann's or Hobby Lobby, and I haven't used it. I forget about this one. Let me kind of move this out of the way. You can kind of see this one a little bit better. This is a half and quarter square ruler, quarter triangle ruler. I've never used this one either, mostly because I forget I have it. So there's that one. And these are the other rulers that I use probably the most, besides the 6 by 24" rulers. I purchased this set on Amazon, and when I bought it in 2014, and it's of course made by Omnigrid, 4-pack, and they're currently $30.99 for the 4-pack. But when I bought it in 2014, I paid $26.99. So it has gone up a little bit in price, but it's a really great set to have. It comes with a 4.5, a 6.5, a 9.5, and then a 12.5 ruler. And I use the 12.5 a lot, the 9.5, and I don't really use the 6.5 a lot. I may use it on this particular quilt that I'll be working on. I do use the 4.5. I just finished a project. Well, I can't say I just finished it, but I was cutting a lot of fabric that I used the 4.5 for. So definitely before you start a project, make sure you set up your workspace that's going to flow easier for you. sometimes it's trial and error. Put your machine in the area first and kind of set things up in an area that's going to flow easily for you. What I typically do is I cut all my fabric first and then move things away that I won't be using after that, and then set my machine up and keep my pressing mat on the table next to me. And that way that's always there so I can press my seams and things like that. If I do use my 18 inch by 24 pressing mat or cutting mat, if I need to use it again, I can easily move my wool cutting mat and set it right here lengthwise on the table. Excuse me, I have a cough drop in my mouth. I've been a little bit sick today, actually the last couple days, so the allergies are horrible. So anyway, but yeah, definitely set your table up in a way that's going to work for you, where your flow is going to work better for you. Like I said, I'll have my sewing machine to the right. I have my sewing bin up here. And these are just little things that kind of like I keep handy, like my extra bobbins if I need a lot of bobbins. Cones of thread. Let's see, I'll have any other rulers. This is another ruler I have that I use it once in a while, so that one's in there. If I'm going to be doing a lot of like half squares or anything like that, I have a quick triangle square ruler so I can mark my 1/4 inch lines. I've got that. I've got a little tiny ruler in here. I've got a case for extra bobbins if I need it. And then I have my case where I keep all my presser feet, my walking feet. So that's always really close and handy. And then I have several different bins of, I have my safety pins. I have 2 different things of straight pins. So I'll have this set really close handy. And then I also have I have a little 3-drawer bin of all my threads and things are in that. So everything is really close and handy to me. I put my threads, when I'm using my thread, I keep if I'm not putting it on the machine, I put my thread on a cone holder. And usually if I'm quilting, I will put it on a cone thread holder. I just like using the cone thread for that. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I forgot to mention your rotary cutter. Make sure that if you haven't put a fresh blade in it, put a fresh blade in it if you know you're going to need one, or have one handy. This is just the cutter that I like to use. I know a lot of people recommend the the Olfa cutters, and I just found that the Fiskars works good for me. I like this one. I did have one that I purchased from Walmart a few years back, and I have a hard time finding blades for that. It was a metal. It's a metal one, and I can't find it right now. I put it away somewhere, and I just can't find it. But so there's that. But if you have any questions about ideas, maybe how to set your table up, or suggestions, please comment down below. And in the next video, I will be working on how to start cutting the fabric for the for the Calico Cat quilt. And I hope you stay tuned for that because that one will be coming soon. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye. Got to get up to turn the camera off.